Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Yusi Meliyani Putri. We student number 1922038NC. I am from before 2019 class IKIP Siliwangi Bandung. And in this good opportunity, I would like to explain and share material about instrumen evaluasi pembelajaran berbentuk teks. The first instrument is simple multiple choices. Simple multiple choices questions are questions whose answer must be chosen from several possible answers provided. Usually, there are choices A, B, C, D, and E. Multiple choices question consists of the subject matter and answer choices. The subject matter consists of a stimulus in the form of sentences, picture, graphic, and incomplete statement or question, while the answer choices consist of one answer key. The advantage of multiple choices question is that they can measure various levels of knowledge of cognitive. In addition, for the scoring of multiple choices question can be done easily, quickly, and objectively. And next is example of simple multiple choices. I have two questions for the example. The first one is a dialogue, Budi and Agus. Budi, I'm sure he will be successful in his job. Agus, yes, blah 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 blah. For the choices A, if he worked hard enough. B, if he should work hard enough. C, if he worked hard enough. D, if he worked hard enough. E, if he worked hard enough. And you know the answer is yes, D, if he works hard enough, because the dialogue is about simple future tense. And next, the second one. I have a sentence. The batik dress mother gave me is old. Its color has faded. It refers to the choices A, me, B, mother, C, dress, D, batik, E, color. You know the answer is? Yes, D, batik. It refers to batik in the sentences. The second instrument is complex multiple choices. Complex multiple choices is a multiple choices that allow you to have several of the same answer and requires more thought and analysis to find the answer. And sometimes students are allowed to choose more than one answer. Next is example of complex multiple choices. For the example, I have a text, and the text is about descriptive text, and you can look screen, look at the picture, and we can read together. My classroom is very big. There are 20 classrooms and 40 chairs for the students. The teacher's table is in front of the classroom. The teacher sits behind the table. Behind her is the whiteboard. Beside the whiteboard is a map of Indonesia. Under the map, there is a bookshelf. There are two windows in the classroom. Between the windows is a picture of Prambanan Temple. I like my classroom very much. And the question is, my classroom is very big. Big, the word is underlined. The underlined word is A, large, B, great, C, fat, D, clean, E, dirty. You know the answer is? Yes, the answer is A. Large, because big and large is the synonym of the word. Next question. Where does the teacher sit? A. In front of the classroom. B. Behind the whiteboard. C. Behind the table. D. Under the map. E. Behind the whiteboard. The answer is? Yes. C. Behind the table. We can look at the text. The teacher sits behind the table. And the next question. Where is the whiteboard? Choice is A. Behind the table. B. Beside the teacher. C. Behind the wall. D. Behind the teacher. E. In front of the windows. You know the answer is? Yes, the answer is D. Behind the teacher. Behind the teacher. Because in this text we can read again. Behind her is the whiteboard, and her is refers to the teachers. The third instrument is complementary question. Complementary questions are questions that require students to fill in the part that were intentional omitted in the question, usually in the form of a series of the sentences where some of the words are omitted of in the form of paragraph in which some words are omitted to be further completed by students into complete sentences and or paragraph. And the next example of complementary question. You can see the picture and I have one paragraph and we can read together. When I was at the 8th grade of junior high school, my family and I went to Bali for 3 days. I blah 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 many experiences during the vacation. First day, we visited Sanur Beach in the early morning. We saw the beautiful blah 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 together. On the second day, we spent the day on Tanjung Banoa Beach. We spent our last day in Sange. We enjoyed the green and shady forest. Blah blah blah. In the afternoon, we had to check out from the hotel. We went back home, bringing so many amazing memories of Bali. The one question, blah blah blah. For the choices A. Had, B. Spent, C. Poured, D. Want, E. Won. The answer is yes, A. Had. The sentence is I had many experiences during the vacation because the question, the sentence is a simple past tense. The second question, the choices A. Stars, B. Moon, C. Sunrise, D. Sunset, E. Gently. Yes, but the answer is sunrise, C, because the sentences is first day we visit Sanur Beach in the early morning. We saw the beautiful sunrise in the early morning. Early morning is sunrise. And the third question, the choices: A. Strangely, B. Seriously, C. Quickly, D. Pleasantly, E. Pleasant. The question for the third, the answer is D. Pleasantly. The next is fourth for the instrument. The instrument is short answer question. Short answer questions are questions that require text to provide short answer in the form of defined word, phrase, name, place, name of character, symbol, or sentences. The form of the short answer question is very appropriate to be used to measure the ability of very simple text. The ability measured by short answer are the ability to mention terms, the ability to mention facts, the ability to mention principles, the ability to mention method or procedure, the ability to interpret simple data, the ability to solve problems related to the children, and the ability to complete a question. Short answer questions have advantages and disadvantages. Short answer questions are one form of question that are easy to make, especially because they relate to very simple learning outcomes, namely generally ability that are commonly measured. One of the advantages of short answer question is that students must provide answer in writing. This is advantageous because the form of short answer question reduces the possibility of students guessing the answer to question. The disadvantages of the short answer question are: the one, difficult to measure complex learning outcomes. Two, it is difficult in terms of scoring if the question writer does not present the right answer key. And three, there is a possibility of writing error in the answer. And next, for example of short answer, I have one the text, and the text is about invitation card. We can see the picture and read together. Forthcoming marriage, Mr. Beauty Cumberbatch and Miss Hunter. Their engagement is announced between Benedict, son of Wanda and Timothy Cumberbatch of London, and Sophie, daughter of Catherine Hunter of Edinburgh and Carlos Hunter of London. On behalf of the government, City Major invites you as a guest in the Independence Day fire opening ceremony. That Saturday, August 7, 2010, time 3 p.m. Place outside stadium, science place, and team are limited, so your attendance will be appreciated. Thank you for attention. City Major, Dr. Anwar Samsi. The first question: when will the Independence Day fire opening ceremony hold? The answer is on Saturday, August 7, 2010. 2. Who is Dr. Anwar Samsi? The answer is a city major. And 3. Where is the place of Independence Day fire opening ceremony? The answer is at outside stadium. And the next instrument is matching question. Matching questions are a form of question that consists of the two statements. The first statement is usually written in the left column or at the top. The second statement is usually placed on the right or bottom column. The way to do the problem is to connect the statement in column 1 the statement in the two columns that are related. And the next is example of matching question. I have one table. Match the adjective with its antonym on the right. I have a right column and left column. The right column is a word good, source, expensive, quiet, clean, and wet. And the left column is noisy, dry, dirty, cheap, bad, and sweet. So, for the answer question, we have to make a line from the right column to left column. So, look at the picture. Good, the antonym is good is bad. So, we can make a line from the good to bad. For the next example, we choose the word wet. So, the antonym wet is dry. We can make a line from wet to word dry. For the expensive, the antonym is cheap. So, we can make a line from the expensive to word cheap and extra until the question finishes. For the next instrument is true or false question. True or false question are types of question that require students to choose and examine two statements presented with true or false answer. The advantages of this type is easy answer to grade and can improve student cognitive ability. And for disadvantages, the probability that students answer correctly and incorrectly is 50-50 because the answer only have two choices. And this type of question is not able to make student thinking develop because only right and wrong answer are chosen. And the next is example of true or false question. I have one story, I have one text, and I have 4 questions. For answer the question, we can read the text and make sure that the question is true or false relate the text. The last instrument is essay question. Essay is a question that requires students to organize the idea of things they have learned. The answer is stated in the form of a written description. Essay questions have advantages and disadvantages. Advantages is can measure the ability of students in the term of presenting unreflected answer freely, organizing their thoughts, expressing their options, and expressing ideas using the student own word or sentences. And disadvantages is the number of material of subject that can be asked is relative limited. The time to check the answer is quite long. The scoring is relatively subjective, and the level of reliability is relatively lower than the multiple choices question because the reliability of the score on the description question is very dependent on the test score. And next is example for the essay question. I have 3 questions for the essay question. For the first one, write down the form of present perfect and give 3 examples. Narrative, interrogative, and positive. For the positive, you have seen that movie many times. For negative, you have not seen that movie many times. For interrogative, have you seen that movie many times? For the next question, make 2 dialogue about reported speech, then change into direct speech. For direct speech, Yusi said, I like that story. Reported speech or indirect speech, Yusi said that he liked the story. And the last question is make a job vacancy. We can look at the picture and we can read together for the answer of the job vacancy. So, there are 7 instruments for evaluasi penilaian berbentuk teks. And thank you for attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.